A millionaire CEO pays a heartfelt visit to the grave of his late wife, only to be approached by triplets who hand him a note that shatters his composure. Before we embark on this narrative journey, may I ask where you are tuning in from? Share your thoughts in the comments. Immerse yourself in this captivating tale. The autumn leaves swirl gracefully over the cemetery grounds as Alexander Reed, the head of Reed Innovations, strolls along the well-trodden path to his wife's resting place. At 34, Alexander's existence is marked by paradox. Great achievements in my career overshadowed by deep personal grief. His tailored Italian suit seems incongruous amidst the gravestones. Yet today signifies what would have been his and Sarah's 5th wedding anniversary, and he is determined to honor this poignant ritual no matter what. The Boston skyline rises majestically in the distance, a testament to the empire he constructed even as his personal life fell apart around him. 2 years prior, Sarah lost her life in a car accident as Alexander was abroad finalizing a significant business agreement. The weight of his absence that night has gnawed at him relentlessly ever since. As Alexander nears the polished marble headstone, its surface glistening under the warm glow of the late afternoon sun, his driver remains at a respectful distance. Sarah Elizabeth Reed, cherished spouse 1990 to 2022. The epitaph seems profoundly insufficient to encapsulate the essence of the vibrant woman she was. A gifted photographer devoted to seizing life's tiniest moments. In his grasp, Alexander holds a bouquet of pristine white lilies, the ones Sarah adores. His knuckles whiten from the strain of gripping the stems too tightly, the sole visible indication of the turmoil brewing within him. He has mastered the skill of maintaining a calm demeanor in public, yet these visits peel back the meticulously crafted exterior. Kneeling before the grave, Alexander tenderly sets the flowers against the stone. "I brought your favorites," he whispers, his voice trembling just a bit. The cemetery envelopes him in a serene hush, broken only by the gentle rustle of leaves and the faint murmur of traffic in the distance. He arrives in this place seeking a connection to her, but the stillness only highlights her absence. After 2 years of mourning, these visits remain just as difficult. They have only grown more challenging as the truth of a life without Sarah becomes more concrete. His therapist refers to it as progress, recognizing the enduring nature of loss. Yet, with each day that goes by, Alexander senses the burden growing heavier upon him. He starts to share quietly, bringing Sarah up to speed on the latest happenings at Reed Innovations, their recent advancement in renewable energy technology, and the new headquarters under construction downtown. Conversations about commerce, a comfortable and well-known domain. He steers clear of the personal updates, the void of their home, the restless nights, the appointments his board members persistently attempt to set up for him. Instead, he concentrates on the aspects that would have filled Sarah with pride. The foundation he created in her honor has supported arts initiatives and provided resources to underfunded schools throughout Massachusetts. Sarah consistently championed the importance of fostering imagination in young minds. A wistful smile crosses his lips at the thought. Engrossed in dialogue with his departed spouse, Alexander remains unaware of the 3 diminutive silhouettes drawing near from the other side of the cemetery. They glide through life with an uncanny harmony that only twins can achieve. 3 little girls donned in identical blue dresses, their auburn hair elegantly secured with ribbons. At around 8 years of age, they traverse the cemetery with a distinct sense of intent, clasping hands as they meander among the gravestones. The middle child grips a folded piece of paper in her free hand, glancing at it now and then as if to verify her path. They do not bear flowers or exhibit any signs of grief. It is evident that they are on a quest for something, or perhaps someone. A soft murmur escapes Alexander's lips, only to be interrupted by a delicate voice. "Excuse me, kind sir?" The tone wavers, balancing uncertainty with resolve. Alexander pivots, encountering 3 identical faces gazing up at him with an unsettling intensity. The girls stand shoulder to shoulder, creating a charming row of identical freckled faces and sparkling blue eyes. For a fleeting instant, Alexander wonders if his mind is playing tricks on him. Perhaps sorrow has ultimately shattered his sanity. Yet, the middle child takes a step ahead, offering the neatly folded paper she holds. "May I ask if you are Mr. Alexander Reed?" she inquires, her tone unwavering even in the face of her evident anxiety. With a furrowed brow, Alexander nods, carefully accepting the paper. The triplets gaze at him, anticipation hanging in the air as he reveals it. Within lies a note penned in an unfamiliar script. "Alexander, should you come across this, know that these girls have located you. Emma, Lily, and Olivia are their names. Those are your daughters. Sarah kept them a secret from you. Kindly look after our girls. Catherine Coleman." The letters dance and fade in his vision. He peruses it once more, then a third time, his hands starting to quiver. The girls observe him in silence, their faces reflecting a blend of anticipation and unease. Alexander's thoughts swirl in a chaotic frenzy. Offspring? That can't be done. Sarah was unable to have children. They discovered that lesson early in their union. The news had shattered them both. They had talked about adoption, but then Sarah received her cancer diagnosis, and all their plans were set aside. He examines the girls with greater scrutiny now, seeking any hint of a connection, any trace of similarity to himself or Sarah. The girls squirm beneath his gaze. "Who provided you with this?" He finally finds the courage to speak, his voice barely rising above a whisper. The individual at the center, appearing to be the designated representative. "Provide the answers, Aunt Catherine. She mentioned we should look for you here today. She mentioned that you would be stopping by to see our mom." The girl gestures towards Sarah's grave with an unsettling nonchalance, sending a shiver down Alexander's spine. The meaning is unmistakable. The girls are convinced that Sarah is their mother. However, that seems unfeasible. Is it not? Alexander's thoughts race as he struggles to comprehend the unfolding scenario. The girls appear to be approximately 8 years of age. 8 years prior, he and Sarah were engaged yet living apart as she pursued a photography assignment in Europe. She had unexpectedly prolonged her visit by several months, asserting that the project had grown in scope. Upon her return, they tied the knot soon after. Was it possible for her to have been pregnant during that period? Could she really have hidden such a secret from him? "Your Aunt Catherine," Alexander murmurs slowly, attempting to recall the name. "Is it Catherine Coleman?" The name rings a bell. It's possible that Sarah brought up a friend with that name. The girls respond with a synchronized nod. "Since our mom passed away, she's been looking after us," the one on the left remarks. "However, she is quite unwell at the moment. The physicians indicate that her condition is unlikely to improve." The girl's voice trembles just a bit, yet she holds onto her composure with a heartbreaking stoicism for someone so young. Alexander's mind races with inquiries, yet the fragility reflected in the girl's gaze holds him back from speaking them aloud. If they are indeed truthful and genuinely believe in their honesty, then they are confronting their second significant setback in just 2 years. "Where is your aunt at this moment?" Alexander struggles to maintain his composure as he speaks, his voice wavering with the effort. The third girl, who has been quiet until this moment, finally finds her voice. "Located within the walls of Massachusetts General Hospital. She had us vow to seek you out beforehand." She leaves the sentence hanging, yet it's clear enough. Alexander recognizes the pressing need. He retrieves his phone and types a brief message to his driver, directing him to bring the car to the front. No matter the reality of this circumstance, he cannot abandon 3 young girls in a cemetery as night draws near. He declares, "I will take you to see your aunt. We'll navigate this together." Relief spreads across the girls' faces, and for the first time, Alexander perceives the subtle distinctions that set them apart. At first glance, they may seem the same, but the one who speaks first exudes a commanding presence, her gaze steady and unwavering. The second appears more subdued, her gaze frequently flitting about as though she is meticulously noting every detail. The third emanates a soft sensitivity, her gaze warm yet wary. As they approach the cemetery entrance, Alexander becomes aware that he cannot distinguish which name corresponds to which girl. "I'm Emma," the leader declares, as if plucking the words directly from his mind. This is Lily, gesturing toward the keen observer, and that's Olivia, acknowledging the one with a gentle spirit. The girls are seated in a line within the car, their tiny hands gently intertwined in their laps. Alexander sits across from them, the notes firmly grasped in his hand. "How did you get here?" he inquires, a dawning realization washing over him that they couldn't have made the journey to the cemetery by themselves. "We took an Uber," Emma states with a straightforward tone. "Aunt Catherine provided us with some money and demonstrated how to operate her phone." Alexander arches an eyebrow, unable to hide his admiration for their ingenuity. "That was quite courageous," he remarks, "yet also perilous. Traveling alone is not advisable." Emma gives a slight shrug. "We are not solitary beings. We are together." As the vehicle weaves through the bustling evening traffic of Boston, Alexander observes the girls discreetly. As the initial surprise fades, he starts to recognize traits that feel oddly familiar. Their eyes evoke a memory of Sarah's, and the way Emma tilts her head in contemplation reflects a familiar quirk of his own. Yet, these might merely be coincidences, as his mind fervently searches for links. The notion that Sarah concealed a pregnancy, gave birth to triplets, and orchestrated their upbringing in secrecy appears far too implausible to be credible. Here they stand, three little girls, perfectly at the right age, who somehow knew just where to seek him out on this particular day. Massachusetts General Hospital stands before me, its glowing windows piercing through the encroaching twilight. Alexander guides the girls through the lobby, where they skillfully direct him to the elevator and ascend to the oncology floor. The ease with which they move through the hospital reveals just how long they've been around this place. In room 412, Emma gently taps on the door before slowly pushing it open. Within the room, a delicate figure with short gray hair rests against a mound of pillows, her arm connected to several devices, while monitoring equipment encircles the bed. Her eyes sparkle with joy upon seeing the girls, then grow wide with astonishment at the sight of Alexander. "You found him," Catherine whispers, her voice a fragile blend of weakness and relief. The girls hurry to her bedside, each embracing her softly in turn. Alexander lingers at the edge, unsure of where he fits into this heartfelt reunion. Catherine's gaze locks onto his, navigating through the girls' heads. "Thank you for coming," she expresses. "I wasn't sure you would." Alexander advances, the note extended before him as if it were proof in a courtroom. "These girls claim to be my daughters," he states, his tone quiet yet charged. "They claim Sarah was their mother. I must grasp the situation." Catherine nods deliberately, motioning to the chair next to her bed. "Ladies, could you kindly step outside with the nurse for a moment? I require a private conversation with Mr. Reed." As the door shuts behind the triplets, Catherine makes an effort to sit up more upright. "Sarah made me promise not to reach out to you unless something occurred with me," she starts. "I've been given a diagnosis of terminal pancreatic cancer. The doctors estimate I have weeks, perhaps even less. I couldn't depart from this world without ensuring the girls would be looked after." Alexander shakes his head, grappling with the weight of his thoughts. Yet Sarah was unable to bear children. "We made an effort. The doctors informed us it was unattainable." Catherine's demeanor shifts, revealing a touch of compassion. "That's what Sarah conveyed to you. The reality is more intricate." Catherine clarifies that she is not, in fact, related to Sarah. They were friends from childhood who stayed connected well into their adult years. Upon learning of her pregnancy while in Europe, Sarah felt a wave of panic wash over her. She and Alexander had contemplated the idea of children, yet the moment seemed off. His company was just beginning to soar, requiring all of his focus. Sarah dreaded the thought of being a weight on someone else's shoulders or, even more painfully, feeling the sting of resentment from a partner consumed by his ambitions, leaving little room for family. "She was going to tell you eventually," Catherine insists. "But then her diagnosis came, and she didn't want to burden you with both her illness and the sudden responsibility of fatherhood. She believed she had more time." Alexander listens in stunned silence, emotions clashing within him. Confusion, disbelief, anger at being kept in the dark, and an overwhelming sense of loss for the years he's missed. Catherine continues. The girls think Sarah perished in the car accident 2 years back. The reality is she passed away due to complications from her cancer. The car accident narrative was easier for them to grasp at 6 years old. Alexander runs a hand through his hair, a sign of frustration he's been careful to suppress in professional environments. Why at this moment? Why didn't you inform me when she passed away? Catherine's eyes brim with tears. Sarah insisted I promise. She feared you might hold resentment towards the girls for being kept away from you, that your ability to love them would be hindered by the knowledge of her deception. She believed it would be more beneficial for them to remain with me, someone who cherished them from the very beginning, rather than go to a father who might view them as a duty. She picks up a small photo album from her bedside table. But she left this for you in case anything were to happen to me. The album is filled with images. Sarah during her pregnancy, Sarah cradling 3 tiny babies, celebrations of birthdays, first steps, and the first days of school. Every milestone that Alexander overlooked, meticulously recorded. The final page contains a letter, carefully sealed in an envelope adorned with Alexander's name, penned in Sarah's unique script. With quivering hands, he carefully breaks the seal and reveals the pages within. My beloved Alexander, if you are reading this, it means I have departed, and Catherine has honored her last vow to me. I understand that you are feeling a mix of confusion, hurt, and anger at this moment. Your feelings are completely valid. What I did was inexcusable, and I regret keeping our daughters from you. All I can express is that I believed I was safeguarding everyone. You from the dilemma of choosing between your aspirations and your family, the girls from the sense of being secondary to your career, and myself from witnessing you drift away under the burden of obligations you never sought. The letter unfolds, with Sarah articulating her fears, her regrets, and ultimately her hope that Alexander would discover the capacity to forgive her and cherish their daughters. They embody the finest qualities we possess, Alexander. Emma reflects your unwavering determination and innate leadership. Lily has a keen eye for detail, much like yours when tackling a challenge. Olivia experiences emotions profoundly, much like you do beneath your meticulously maintained facade. They require your presence now, and perhaps you find yourself needing them as well. Cherish them for my sake, and perhaps through your bond with them, you might find a way to forgive me in the future. The letter concludes with a heartfelt, I loved you always, Sarah. Alexander remains still, the letter held tightly in his grasp, tears cascading down his cheeks. Catherine observes him with worry, her own eyes glistening. They are wonderful young women, she whispers gently. Intelligent, compassionate, and strong. They have faced so many challenges already. Alexander nods, a lump forming in his throat that silences him. After a moment, he finds the strength to ask, do they know that I was unaware of their existence? Catherine shakes her head. They think you've been away for business. Sarah believed this approach would spare them from feeling rejected. When my diagnosis was revealed, I realized I had to share a portion of the truth. That you were unaware of their whereabouts, yet you would wish to meet them if you had the chance. In the hallway, the triplets are gathered with a nurse, engrossed in coloring books from the hospital's family waiting area. They glance up with anticipation as Alexander steps out of Catherine's room. His expression is calm once more, yet his eyes betray a lingering redness. Girls, he says softly, crouching down to meet their eyes. I'd like to talk to you about something important. He gestures toward a few chairs set up in a small circle. Once they're seated, Alexander takes a deep breath. Your Aunt Catherine shared some details about you, mentioning how your mom requested her help in looking after you while I was away for work. The girls nod, their faces serious. The truth is, Alexander goes on thoughtfully, I had no idea about you until today. Your mother and I shared a deep love, yet she never revealed to me that I had 3 incredible daughters. He observes their expressions as they absorb this revelation, anticipating confusion, anger, or tears. To his surprise, Emma is the first to respond, her voice unexpectedly calm. Mom mentioned that you were creating something significant, something that would benefit many. She said you would feel proud of us when you saw us. The innocence of her perception shatters Alexander's heart once more. I am proud of you, he says, his voice heavy with feeling. And I'm sorry I haven't been around. But if you'll allow me, I'd like to step into the role of your dad now. The term dad feels strange as it rolls off his tongue, a title he never anticipated to embrace, especially not with 3 8-year-old daughters at once. Lily, the keen observer, watches him intently. Do you have a house? She inquires matter-of-factly. Alexander nods. I do. It's spacious and quite bare at the moment, but there's ample space for 3 girls. Olivia, ever the sensitive gauge of feelings, poses the pivotal question. Will you love us? Despite our recent introduction, Alexander experiences a constriction in his chest, a sensation unrelated to sorrow for a change. I already do, he admits, taken aback by the honesty of his own words. In just a few hours, everything has shifted dramatically, yet a sense of wholeness that has eluded him since Sarah's passing, maybe even longer, appears to be emerging. He cautions them, acknowledging the challenges ahead. There's much to discover about one another. Yet we'll navigate this journey side by side. Emma reaches out her petite hand with a sense of formality, mimicking the gestures she's observed from grown-ups. Deal, she says, and Alexander shakes it solemnly, sealing a pact that will alter the course of their lives forever. That night, after making sure Catherine is comfortable and vowing to return the next day, Alexander leads the girls to his penthouse apartment. His housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, answers the door with her customary efficiency, only to freeze at the sight of 3 identical little girls standing behind her employer. Alexander rushes through introductions, observing Mrs. Chen's surprise shift into a warm embrace. Having been by his side since before Sarah's passing, she has seen his gradual retreat into solitude and sorrow. The sudden presence of children injects vitality into the once sterile apartment, which has served more as a mere sleeping space than a true home. While Mrs. Chun cobbles together a dinner from the limited supplies in the kitchen, Alexander leads the girls on a tour. The apartment is pristine, crafted more for the display of contemporary art than for coziness. The girls follow closely, their eyes bright with wonder, as they absorb the breathtaking view of Boston Harbor through the expansive windows. You live all the way up in the sky, Olivia whispers, her palm pressed against the glass in awe. Alexander views his home through their gaze, striking yet unwelcoming, a far cry from the cozy, nurturing environment where children flourish. This is just temporary, he reassures himself, until we discover a real home. The words catch him off guard, yet they provide comfort to the girls. They've been acquainted for less than 6 hours, and already he's embarking on significant choices. He ought to feel daunted, perhaps even frightened, but instead, a peculiar sense of clarity washes over him. It could be the surprise of the moment, or maybe it's Emma's resolute pace that echoes Sarah's intent movements. Whatever the cause, Alexander is acutely aware that his life has taken a permanent turn, and he feels no inclination to revert. The dinner is a casual mix of pasta and vegetables, where Alexander discovers more about the girls' experiences. Catherine has primarily raised them in a modest house in Cambridge, where they attend a local public school and are currently in the 3rd grade. Emma shines in math and often takes the lead on group projects. Lily, on the other hand, reads at a 5th grade level and has a knack for reciting obscure facts about animals. Olivia plays the violin and crafts intricate friendship bracelets for her classmates. Their lives have been ordinary, even joyful, despite the absence of their mother and the father they thought was working abroad. As the conversation unfolds, Alexander observes how they complete each other's sentences and convey meaning through glances and subtle gestures. The unspoken dialect of the many. Each one, however, showcases their unique quirks and passions. When Emma communicates, her hands dance with expression. Lily carefully considers her words before speaking, taking the time to think things through. Olivia is attuned to the emotions of those around her, picking up on subtle cues that others might overlook. Together, they form a cohesive unit, at ease in their shared identity, while each distinctly carves out her own individuality. Once dinner concludes, the topic of where to sleep comes up. Alexander's apartment features a guest room with a queen-sized bed, which isn't exactly perfect for 3 energetic kids. "We can share," Emma suggests with a sensible tone. "We share at home anyway." Alexander makes a mental note to order proper beds tomorrow, along with whatever else 8-year-old girls might need. As he helps them settle in for the night, awkwardly tucking the blankets around 3 small bodies, he's struck by how effortlessly they seem to embrace his presence. There's an absence of bedtime stories or goodnight kisses, rituals he's unfamiliar with. Yet, as he prepares to depart, Olivia extends her hand toward him. "Good night, Dad," she says, the word escaping her lips with a hint of uncertainty. "Father." The mere utterance halts Alexander in his steps. He swallows with difficulty, gripping her hand softly. "Sleep well, Olivia. Sweet dreams, Emma. Rest peacefully, Lily." He leaves the door slightly open, letting a thin beam of light from the hallway seep into the strange room. In his own bedroom, Alexander perches on the edge of his bed, fully clothed, as he reflects on the day's events. He ought to reach out to his lawyer, set up DNA tests, and look into Catherine's assertions. The pragmatist within him insists on thorough verification. Yet, when he shuts his eyes, 3 small faces with Sarah's eyes gaze back at him with unwavering trust. He retrieves his phone and scrolls through his photo gallery, discovering images of Sarah that he seldom permits himself to revisit. He examines her face, looking for hints of the triplets in her features. The shape of their eyes, the curve of their smiles. He can see it now, the unmistakable likeness. And what about himself? Maybe in Emma's resolute jawline, in Lily's thoughtful gaze. He contemplates what further revelations await him regarding them and himself along this journey. After 2 long years, Alexander drifts into slumber with thoughts of the future, leaving the past behind. The dawn brings fresh obstacles to face. The girls rise with the dawn, their hushed exchanges gradually coaxing Alexander from his slumber. He discovers them wandering through the apartment, scrutinizing his modern art collection with bemused looks. "Why do you have a picture of squiggly lines?" Lily inquires, gesturing toward an abstract expressionist work that had set him back more than most vehicles. Alexander comes to the unsettling conclusion that he lacks a satisfactory response. The artwork was selected by a decorator with the intent to dazzle business associates, rather than to evoke any sense of joy for him. "I'm not sure," he confesses candidly. "Do you find it appealing?" Lily shakes her head firmly. It seems like the artist was quite upset while creating it. Breakfast poses yet another challenge. Despite its array of professional-grade appliances, Alexander's kitchen lacks options for a child's breakfast. The girls observe with barely hidden disappointment as he presents protein shakes and black coffee, his usual morning routine. "Do you have any Cheerios?" Emma inquires, her tone filled with hope. Alexander shakes his head, adding yet another item to his ever-expanding list of essentials. "How about we go out for breakfast?" he proposes, feeling a wave of relief as this suggestion is met with enthusiasm. The morning unfolds in a flurry of activity. Following a charming breakfast at a nearby diner, where the girls revel in their choice of pancakes molded into the likeness of Mickey Mouse, Alexander embarks on a shopping expedition for necessities. The sales staff fawn over the identical triplets, while Alexander, increasingly feeling the weight of the task, acquires an array of items ranging from toothbrushes to pajamas to stuffed animals. By midday, his luxury SUV brims with bags, and the girls buzz with excitement about the prospect of decorating their rooms. Rooms, Alexander muses, as he has already concluded that a single bedroom will not suffice. They arrive at the hospital to see Catherine, who appears more awake than the day before. A blend of sadness and satisfaction crosses her face as she observes the girls excitedly displaying their new belongings. As the triplets become engrossed with a nurse presenting them pudding cups, Catherine gestures for Alexander to come nearer. She speaks softly, revealing that their birth certificates are secured in a safety deposit box. Alongside them is Sarah's will, designating you as their guardian should anything happen to me. I never pursued legal guardianship. Sarah aimed to ensure that you could claim them if needed. Alexander nods, taking in yet another fragment of the intricate puzzle. Thank you for looking after them, he expresses earnestly, any resentment towards the deceit eclipsed by appreciation for the affection Catherine has shown his daughters. In the car afterward, Alexander brings up the topic that's been on his mind. Girls, I need to go to work tomorrow, he starts cautiously. I have some important meetings I can't miss. 3 pairs of eyes watch him, each reflecting a different shade of worry. Are you going away again? Olivia inquires, her voice barely above a whisper. Alexander swiftly shakes his head in response. No, my office is located right here in Boston. However, I need to determine who will be with you during the day. Emma folds her arms, striking a pose that is strikingly reminiscent of Sarah when she was establishing her limits. We're not infants. We can manage on our own. Alexander stifles a grin at her outrage. I recognize your competence, but it's against the law to leave 8-year-olds unattended all day. He weighs his choices. Mrs. Chun is certainly capable, but her role is that of a housekeeper, not a nanny. He requires someone with the right qualifications to look after 3 lively children. Almost instinctively, he reaches for his phone and calls his executive assistant. Jennifer, please cancel all my meetings for the upcoming week due to a family emergency. Additionally, could you look for the top nanny agency in Boston? Thank you. Without hesitation, he brushes aside Jennifer's shocked silence at the mention of family, a term he has meticulously steered clear of since Sarah's passing. By the time they arrive back at the apartment, Alexander has a strategy taking shape. The guest room falls short for 3 blossoming girls, and his lifeless apartment barely feels like a home. Sarah's former residence in Cambridge has remained vacant since her passing. He finds it unbearable to part with it, yet the thought of residing there is equally daunting. Now he understands it could be the ideal answer. The girls would be close to their school and in a familiar neighborhood, while he would finally have a connection to Sarah that isn't solely filled with pain. How would you feel about moving into your mom's old house? He inquires as they sort through their new clothes. The girls share knowing looks, their unspoken connection palpable. The one with the yellow door? Lily inquires. Alexander nods, taken aback by their recall. Emma shares that Mom took them there once. She mentioned it was the place she lived before falling ill. It featured a spacious backyard with a swing. Alexander was unaware of the swing. It served as yet another reminder of the many aspects of Sarah's life that had remained concealed from him. We can prepare it this week, he assures. Transform it into our sanctuary. As darkness descends, Alexander is at his desk, delving into topics ranging from child development to the intricacies of school enrollment. The girls rest peacefully in the guest room, enveloped by their fresh belongings. Tomorrow will present a myriad of logistical hurdles. Informing the school, organizing temporary childcare, and initiating the legal steps to establish his paternity. Yet tonight, Alexander senses a feeling he hasn't encountered in years. Purpose. The grief that has lingered by his side hasn't vanished, but it has been accompanied by something new. Responsibility? Yes, but also a sense of possibility. 3 young lives now rely on him, 3 hearts that, against all odds, are intertwined with his own. He opens a new email and starts to compose a message to his board of directors. Effective immediately, I will be cutting back my in-office hours to better manage family responsibilities. The words cascade effortlessly as Alexander Reed, CEO and newly embraced father, embarks on a journey to reshape his existence around what genuinely counts. The following morning dawns with a whirlwind of motion as Alexander strives to create a sense of order. He rises early, reaching out to his legal team while the girls remain in slumber. James Winters, the lawyer, listens with disbelief as Alexander recounts the circumstances. You should get a DNA test before making any decisions, he suggests carefully. This might be an intricate deception. Alexander stiffens at the implication, his mind flashing back to the images Catherine had shared, the striking similarity between the girls and Sarah. Yet, he understands that James is correct. Adequate legal documentation is crucial, particularly in light of the peculiar situation. He reluctantly agrees to schedule the tests, but does so with a sense of discretion. These girls have endured enough without feeling like they are involved in a criminal inquiry. By the time they step out of the guest room, Alexander has already coordinated with a nanny service to send over candidates that afternoon and has spoken with the principal of their elementary school to clarify the situation. He finds it astonishing how quickly the school administrator believes his account. It seems that Catherine had designated him as the girl's father on all their documents, yet another indication that Sarah had always planned for him to discover his daughters in due time. Observing the triplets enjoy the breakfast he has quickly put together, grocery delivery being his first success of the day, Alexander is amazed by how swiftly they've adjusted to their new circumstances. He reflects on the resilience of children, pondering whether he can take a lesson from their adaptability. The temporary nanny arrives right on time at 9, a warm, grandmotherly figure named Mrs. Rodriguez, who has a knack for handling emergency childcare scenarios. Alexander provides a swift overview, aware of the girls' inquisitive gazes observing their interaction. "I'll return by 6, he assures, feeling an odd sense of leaving them behind despite their brief acquaintance. Emma responds with a sensible nod, while Lily gives a gentle wave. Olivia catches him off guard, her arms encircling his waist in a swift embrace. "Have a good day at work, Dad," she says, a shy smile gracing her face. The uncomplicated act renders Alexander momentarily at a loss for words. He brushes his fingers through her hair softly before departing, the burden of his newfound duties both daunting and thrilling. The Reed Innovations headquarters appears almost dreamlike after the emotional tempest of the previous day. Alexander strides through the polished lobby, offering a distracted nod to the employees who acknowledge him with their customary respect. In the elevator, he glimpses his reflection in the gleaming doors. He appears unchanged, yet everything around him feels different. His executive assistant, Jennifer, awaits him in his office, her face revealing a blend of worry and intrigue. "Are you okay, sir? It's unusual for you to cancel an entire week of meetings." Alexander motions for her to shut the door, then exhales deeply. "Jennifer, I require your utmost confidentiality regarding what I'm about to share with you." The explanation unfolds more swiftly than he anticipated. The facts are strikingly straightforward, even with their profound consequences. Jennifer, having collaborated with Alexander for 5 years and observed his sorrow following Sarah's passing, listens attentively without a word. As he concludes, she nods with determination. "I will rearrange your external meetings for the time being and transition as many as possible to video conferences. The board meeting on Thursday cannot be delayed, but I can shorten it to 2 hours instead of the typical 4. Her practical approach steadies Alexander, reminding him that while his personal life has been upended, the framework of his professional world remains intact. "There's something else," he adds with a hint of hesitation. "I'm considering moving into Sarah's old house in Cambridge. The girls would have the advantage of being nearer to their school, and there's ample room for them to thrive." Jennifer's expression becomes more tender. "The house you've been funding but haven't set foot in for 2 years?" she inquires softly. Alexander nods, recognizing the weight of the decision. "I believe Sarah would have wanted them to grow up there. She cherished that house." Jennifer jots down another note. "I'll ensure it's cleaned and ready. The basic furniture is still in place, right?" Alexander nods once more, appreciative of her promptness. "I'll make sure to organize an appropriate vehicle. Your sports car isn't really meant for carpooling." The remainder of the day slips by in a haze of meetings and phone calls, with Alexander functioning on autopilot as his mind keeps wandering back to the triplets. During a break between meetings, he finds himself delving into local schools, weighing the merits of the current public institution against private alternatives nearer to his office. The urge to swiftly enroll them in a prestigious private academy is compelling. Isn't that the expectation of a prosperous father? Yet, he pauses, recalling how well-adjusted they appear to be. Maybe right now, stability holds more worth than prestige. His phone buzzes with a message from Mrs. Rodriguez, featuring a photo of the girls in Boston Common, happily feeding ducks by the pond. Their smiles reflect a shared joy that is pure and uncomplicated. Alexander smiles at the image, feeling a slight easing in his chest. True to his promise, he arrives back at the apartment by 6, carrying takeout from a fancy restaurant. He discovers the girls deeply immersed in an intricate game with stuffed animals, set up in what looks like a hospital scene. Olivia's new teddy bear is currently in the midst of an intricate process managed by Dr. Emma, with Nurse Lily offering essential support. Mrs. Rodriguez observes from the kitchen, wearing a fond smile. She notes how beautifully they have been playing together. Imaginative young women. Alexander expresses his gratitude for her attentiveness throughout the day and plans for her return the next day, before joining the girls for dinner. Their lively conversation about the day's escapades, the ducks at the pond, the street performer juggling fire, the dog with mismatched eyes, infuses the apartment with an unprecedented warmth. Following dinner, Alexander proposes a video call with Catherine. The hospital has provided a tablet, and Catherine's weary expression lights up at the sight of the triplets. She attentively hears their enthusiastic stories about their new clothes and toys, responding with fitting expressions of interest. As the girls step aside to get ready for their baths, Catherine turns to Alexander, her voice softer than it had been the previous day. "How are you holding up?" she inquires. Alexander reflects on the question with sincerity. "There's a lot to take in," he confesses. Yet it feels oddly correct, like uncovering a part of yourself that had been hidden away. Catherine's eyes reflect her understanding. Sarah would be delighted. She had such fears that you might hold a grudge against them for interrupting your life. Alexander shakes his head, grappling with the dissonance between the Sarah he once knew, open, honest, loving, and the woman who concealed such a monumental secret. "I could never harbor resentment towards them. I simply wish," he falters, struggling to articulate the intricate blend of appreciation for his daughters and sorrow for the time that has slipped away. "I understand," Catherine replies gently. She erred, despite her good intentions. However, those girls represent a second opportunity for Alexander. In a sense, they also offer her a chance. Just then, Emma's voice breaks through from the bathroom, declaring a shampoo crisis that demands urgent assistance. Alexander takes his leave, assuring everyone he will return the next day. The evening ritual turns out to be an enlightening journey for all. Alexander learns that Lily prefers her pillow arranged in a particular manner. Emma insists on having her stuffed penguin snuggled next to her, and Olivia must have a glass of water placed on the nightstand to drift off to sleep. These subtle inclinations, the minute particulars that compose existence, captivate him. He dedicated years to making billion-dollar choices that influence countless employees, yet selecting the perfect bedtime story for 3 8-year-olds seems like the most significant hurdle he's ever encountered. He decides on the paper bag princess, a tale he faintly recalls Sarah mentioning as a cherished favorite from her youth. As the girls gently slip into slumber, Alexander makes his way to the living room, where he powers up his laptop to delve into a range of topics, from child development to the art of hair braiding. Just then, his phone buzzes. It's James Winters on the line with news. The lawyer informs him that the DNA results will require a few days, but he has successfully tracked down the safety deposit box that Catherine referred to. "We can reach it tomorrow morning if you're free." Alexander verifies the appointment and then inquires about the legal procedure for establishing custody. "This is quite complex," James concedes. "However, should the DNA establish paternity and Sarah's will designate you as guardian, we possess a compelling case." The absence of a legal guardian appointment for Catherine plays to our advantage. The discussion then transitions to practical matters such as health insurance, school records, and social security numbers. James assures that he will take care of the details, but cautions that the process may take some time. In the interim, he suggests keeping thorough records. Begin a journal of your interactions with the girls and capture photographs. Develop a consistent presence. Judges appreciate parents who are deeply involved in their children's lives. Alexander recalls the picture Mrs. Rodriguez shared that afternoon, his initial account of fatherhood. He reminds himself to be more deliberate in preserving these moments, not merely for legal reasons but for his own sake and for the girls. They share 2 years of history that he is unaware of. Now they will start weaving memories together. Sleep escapes Alexander that night, his thoughts swirling with plans and worries. Around midnight, he catches the sound of gentle footsteps in the hallway. Olivia stands in the doorway, her teddy bear held tightly, her eyes shining in the dim light. "I had a bad dream," she murmurs. Alexander pauses for a moment, then lifts his comforter, inviting her in. Olivia settles in next to him, her petite frame nestling against his side with unwavering trust. "What was your dream about?" he inquires gently. "Aunt Catherine was gone and we couldn't find you," she admits, her voice barely above a whisper in the dimly lit room. "We found ourselves in solitude." Alexander senses a constriction in his throat. He vows that it won't come to pass. "I will always stand by your side." Olivia reflects on this gravely. "Yet you were unaware of our existence prior to this. You might vanish once more." The sheer dread pierces Alexander deeply. How can he convey to an 8-year-old that he never meant to be absent, that he would have been present from the start had he been aware? "Olivia," he states gently, "I didn't know you were here until yesterday. If I had been aware of you and your sisters, I would have been by your side from the very beginning. Now that I've discovered you, I vow to never part ways again. That's a promise I intend to keep." Olivia gazes at his face, illuminated by the soft glow of the window. Whatever she perceives seems to bring her comfort, as she nods gently and drifts into slumber, her breathing gradually becoming steady. Alexander remains awake for a while longer, keeping watch over his daughter and silently vowing to all 3 girls. Morning unfolds with fresh challenges. The triplets rise early once more, their energy appearing limitless. During breakfast, they enjoy proper cereal this time, courtesy of yesterday's grocery delivery. Alexander lays out the agenda for the day. He mentions that we need to pay another visit to Aunt Catherine, and I have a meeting scheduled at the bank. After that, I suggested we could check out the house where your mom used to live, which might soon be our home. The girls share thrilled looks at the announcement. "Can we choose our own rooms?" Emma inquires with a sense of purpose. Alexander nods, feeling more and more captivated by her assertive demeanor. "Certainly." The house boasts 4 bedrooms, ensuring everyone has their own space. This news elicits a range of responses. Lily expresses her enthusiasm with a quiet remark about finally enjoying some peace and quiet, while Olivia shows signs of concern, having found solace in the closeness with her sisters. The bank meeting unfolds seamlessly, with James Winters having meticulously organized all required documents. Catherine's safety deposit box holds precisely what she assured: 3 birth certificates identifying Alexander Reed as the father and Sarah Elizabeth Reed as the mother, accompanied by Sarah's document designating Alexander as the girl's guardian should anything happen to Catherine. Additionally, a sealed envelope addressed to Alexander catches his attention, which he discreetly slips into his jacket pocket for a more personal review later. The girls linger in the bank's lobby, creating art on deposit slips and captivating the tellers with their coordinated gestures and matching features. At the hospital, they discover Catherine in slumber, her breaths shallow and strained. The oncologist pulls Alexander aside while the girls remain quietly by their aunt's bedside. "Her condition is deteriorating quickly," the doctor conveys softly. "The cancer has metastasized to her liver. We are focused on her comfort, but it's only a matter of days, perhaps a week." Alexander nods, his throat constricted. Even though he has known Catherine for less than 48 hours, her impending absence feels profound. She embodies the girls' final link to their past, the woman who cared for them when Sarah was unable to. "Can they say goodbye?" he asks softly. The doctor nods in response. "Children often grasp more than we realize. Speak truthfully yet softly." Catherine stirs momentarily during their time together, her gaze meeting each girl one by one. "My lovely girls," she murmurs, her voice a mere whisper. "I'm incredibly proud of you." Emma, feeling the weight of the moment, gently takes her aunt's hand. "We love you, Auntie Cat," she says, voicing the sentiments of all 3. Catherine offers a faint smile before shifting her eyes to Alexander. "Take care of them," she whispers. "They're everything." Alexander nods with a grave expression, embracing the weight of the duty entrusted to him. "I will," promise. Catherine appears content, her eyelids fluttering shut once more. A nurse enters, monitoring the screens and fine-tuning the medication drip. She softly yet assertively insists that it's time for her to rest now. In the car afterward, Alexander grapples with the right words to convey Catherine's condition to the girls. Just as he begins to gather his thoughts, Lily's voice breaks the silence from the back seat. "Aunt Catherine is dying, isn't she?" she asks, her tone unwavering even as her lower lip quivers. Alexander catches her gaze in the rearview mirror, recognizing a depth of understanding that belies her age. "Yes," he replies with sincerity. "The doctors are alleviating her suffering, but she is gravely ill and recovery is not in her future." Emma pulls Olivia close, sensing the tears that fall quietly. "Will we get to say goodbye?" she inquires softly. Alexander gives a reassuring nod. He vows to visit her daily, ensuring she feels the depth of your love. The atmosphere is heavy as they journey to Cambridge, each absorbed in their own reflections. Alexander makes his way through the well-known streets leading to Sarah's house. Their house now, perhaps. It has been a while since he last visited, unable to face the emptiness of the home they had envisioned together. As they navigate the tree-lined street, the girls start to brighten, familiar with the surroundings. There it is. Lily gestures enthusiastically as the yellow-doored colonial emerges in sight. Alexander drives into the driveway, a whirlwind of emotions as memories surge forth. He recalls carrying Sarah over the threshold after their honeymoon, planting the now towering maple sapling in the front yard, and dreaming of renovations that never came to fruition due to Sarah's illness. The girls spill out of the car, their earlier sadness momentarily set aside in the thrill of discovery. As Alexander unlocks the front door, he steels himself for the anticipated surge of sorrow. To his surprise, he is greeted by the scent of fresh paint and lemon polish, a testament to Jennifer's relentless diligence. The furniture remains, draped in sheets to guard against dust, yet the house exudes a vitality he hadn't expected. The girls hurry inside, their footsteps resonating on the hardwood floors as they explore each room. "Look at the big kitchen," Emma exclaims. Lily exclaims that there's a window seat in this room. The backyard features the swing. Olivia declares with a sense of victory. Alexander lingers, taking in the house from a fresh perspective. The sun-drenched kitchen where he and Sarah once prepared Sunday brunch together. The living room where they had enjoyed classic films on chilly nights. The study where Sarah meticulously organized her photography gear. These areas, etched in his mind as reminders of sorrow, held the potential to transform into something new. Settings for new memories, a backdrop for the family he never anticipated. The thought doesn't diminish his sorrow for Sarah, but somehow renders it more manageable, as if her absence could eventually transform into a different sort of presence. The girls dash upstairs, claiming bedrooms with the certainty of little conquerors. Alexander tracks down Emma in the guest room, finds Lily in what used to be Sarah's home office, and discovers Olivia, as expected, in the bedroom nearest to his own, the master suite he once shared with Sarah. He pauses in the doorway, gathering his resolve before entering. The bed remains, though it is bare of linens. Sarah's dresser stands against the wall, stripped of her clothes following her passing, yet still holding the faint imprints of her perfume bottles on its surface. A large photograph, captured by Sarah during their honeymoon, adorns the wall, a breathtaking sunrise over the Grand Canyon, where light pierces through the shadows. Alexander gazes at it, recalling the pride she had felt in capturing that flawless moment. "Is this Mom's room?" Olivia inquires, appearing beside him so quietly that he jumps slightly. Alexander nods, resting a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Indeed, this is where your mom and I rested during our time here." Olivia examines the room with care. "It's a lovely space," she concludes. "She should have it back." The straightforward acceptance in her voice, devoid of any notion that she's trespassing on something sacred, allows Alexander to perceive the room in a new light. It can simply be a bedroom once more, rather than a monument to his loss. He gives Olivia's shoulder a grateful squeeze. "I believe I will." "Thank you," She smiles brightly at him, delighted to have contributed, then dances away to join her sisters, who are playfully measuring their rooms with grand strides, arranging their furniture in imaginative ways. Next, they venture into the backyard, where the girls are drawn to the wooden swing swaying from the strong branch of an ancient oak tree. They take turns giving each other pushes, their giggles rising and mingling with the fresh spring breeze. Alexander observes from the back porch, captivated by how perfectly they fit into this space, as if they have always been meant to be here. His phone buzzes with a message from Jennifer. Movers are scheduled for tomorrow. The decorator can meet at 3 p.m. to discuss the children's rooms. A car dealer is set to deliver a family SUV by 5 p.m. He sends a brief thank you, reflecting on how seamlessly the practical elements of this life change are aligning, despite the emotional landscape being intricate and uncertain. As the afternoon light starts to dim, Alexander hesitantly declares that it's time to head back to the apartment. The girls protest with a hint of fatigue, worn out from the day's emotional ups and downs. When can we move in? Emma inquires, her practicality shining through. Alexander ponders the details, the logistics, the movers, the girls' belongings still at Catherine's house that require packing, and the necessary school transfer paperwork. This weekend, he makes a decision. Saturday will be dedicated to transforming it into their home. The assurance appears to please them, and they return to the car in silence, each absorbed in visions of how to adorn their new surroundings. Returning to the apartment, as the girls assist Mrs. Rodriguez in getting dinner ready, Alexander finally takes a moment to open the envelope from Sarah's safety deposit box. Inside, he discovers another letter, dated mere weeks before her passing. It starts with, "Alexander, if you're reading this, then you've met our daughters, and I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me someday. We have some important matters to address. The education funds for the girls are set up at Boston Trust Bank in their names. I've compiled thorough records of their medical histories, noting Lily's mild asthma and Olivia's allergy to penicillin. Emma is left-handed but attempts to use her right hand, believing it makes her resemble her sisters more. The letter unfolds with pages filled with the intimate details only a mother would know. Favorite foods, bedtime rituals, fears, joys, and peculiarities. Sarah's voice resonates so vividly that Alexander can nearly hear her uttering the words. The concluding lines cause his hands to quiver just a bit. I have never ceased to love you, Alexander. Not even for a moment. The girls are well aware of your kindness, your intelligence, and how you consistently defended what you believe to be right. They've spent their entire lives yearning to connect with their father. Please don't allow my error to prevent you from experiencing the profound joy of being their dad. They embody the finest qualities of both of us. Your determination, my creativity, your intelligence, my compassion. Love them enough for both of us." Alexander folds the letter with care, tucking it back into its envelope as he blinks away tears. From the kitchen, the sound of childish laughter mingles with the clatter of dishes, ordinary domestic noise that has never before filled his sterile apartment. He pauses to gather his thoughts before stepping into the scene, observing the girls arranging the table as Mrs. Rodriguez oversees the careful positioning of forks and napkins. "Can we have a picnic dinner?" Olivia inquires with a glimmer of hope. "On a blanket on the floor?" Alexander considers for a moment, then gives a slight nod of agreement. "Why not? It's not as if the dining table serves any purpose for us." Mrs. Rodriguez beams at him, pleased, as he lays out a blanket in the living room. What starts as a simple picnic transforms into a surprisingly delightful gathering, with the girls exchanging tales about their experiences with Catherine and daringly probing into Alexander's past and career. He reflects on his own parents, recalling his father's firm discipline and his mother's nurturing support of his passion for science. A bittersweet feeling washes over him as he acknowledges that his daughters will never meet their paternal grandparents, who both left this world before he met Sarah. When Lily inquires about siblings, Alexander simply shakes his head. "I grew up as an only child, just like your mother. However, you three will always have one another." After dinner, as they get ready for bed, Alexander's phone suddenly rings with a call from the hospital. Catherine's condition has deteriorated. The doctor advises that they should come immediately if they wish to bid farewell. Alexander gathers the girls, softly explaining that Aunt Catherine wishes to see them once more. They don their clothes with haste, expressions grave, reflecting a wisdom that belies their youth. The journey to the hospital unfolds in silence, each girl ensnared in her own contemplations. In the elevator, they clasp hands in their familiar triplet formation, drawing fortitude from one another. Alexander is struck by their strength, even as his heart aches for the impending loss. Catherine lies barely conscious upon their arrival, her breathing heavy and her complexion pale. The girls approach the bed with an impressive calmness, with Emma taking the lead as she always does. They alternate grasping their aunt's hand, softly murmuring their farewells. "Thank you for looking after us," Emma states with a sense of gravity. "I'll continue to read all the books you gifted me," Lily vows earnestly. "I love you to the moon and back," Olivia whispers, a phrase that surely holds deep meaning for them. Catherine's eyes flutter open momentarily at each voice, a faint smile gracing her lips. Once the girls have shared their sentiments, they step back, granting Alexander a moment to speak. He leans in toward the fading woman, gently holding her delicate hand in his. "Thank you," he utters softly, his voice heavy with feeling. "For everything. I promise to look after them." Catherine's grip tightens just a bit as she acknowledges the acceptance, the passing of responsibility. A nurse steps into the doorway, gently suggesting that the girls might prefer to wait outside for a little while. Alexander pauses, caught in a struggle between protecting them from the harsh truth of death and letting them navigate their sorrow in their own way. Emma takes the reins. "We want to stay," she asserts with conviction. "We are united as one." The nurse glances at Alexander, who gives a confirming nod. They take their places in the chairs surrounding Catherine's bed, the girls finding solace in each other's presence. A hospital chaplain arrives, offering gentle prayers that appear to ease Catherine's strained breathing. Time flows on, the girls eventually succumbing to sleep in their chairs while Alexander remains steadfast in his watch. Just after midnight, Catherine takes one last shuddering breath and departs. The shift is delicate, a quiet easing of strain, a profound stillness, yet Alexander senses it at once. He softly rouses the girls, whispering that their aunt has departed. She is free from pain now, he reassures them, pulling them close as tears start to stream down. The night unfolds in a haze of bureaucratic tasks, death certificates, funeral plans, and informing Catherine's sparse relatives. The girls maintain an impressive calm, though Olivia's eyes betray her with their redness, and Lily stays tightly by her sister's side. Emma, stepping into the role of the communicator, poses sensible inquiries about the forthcoming steps. Alexander responds with sincerity, admiring their maturity despite his desire for them to avoid another loss so quickly. When they finally arrive back at the apartment, dawn is illuminating the Boston skyline, creating elongated shadows on the living room floor. The girls fall into the guest bed, drained of emotion, while Alexander tends to essential phone calls from the kitchen. Jennifer arrives at 8, already aware of the news from Alexander's brief text update. She places breakfast pastries and coffee on the counter, then softly inquires, "What do you need?" Alexander runs a hand through his disheveled hair. Everything's happening so fast, he confesses. The arrangements for Catherine are being managed by the funeral home. We expect the DNA results to arrive tomorrow. The movers are scheduled to come today. I must inform the girls' school about Catherine's passing and our relocation. His voice fades, burdened by the flood of obligations. Jennifer acknowledges this, retrieving her tablet. I'll take care of the school notifications and move the movers to Saturday to give everyone a little breathing room. The decorator can hold off. Concentrate on the girls today. They need your attention more than anything else. Alexander is overwhelmed with appreciation for her empathy. Thank you, Jennifer. I truly can't imagine my life without you. She gives a slight smile. Is that why you pay me so well, boss? This moment of normalcy, a comforting professional connection, steadies him. The board meeting tomorrow? He starts to speak, but Jennifer interrupts. It's all taken care of. We've transitioned to a video conference, and I've crafted some talking points regarding your family situation. They maintain your privacy while clarifying your limited availability for the time being. Alexander nods, looking relieved. I ought to introduce you to the girls once they wake up. It's important for them to know who to contact if they can't get in touch with me. The girls tend to sleep late into the morning, allowing their bodies to recuperate from the emotional strain of the night. As they finally step into the light, their eyes swollen and movements restrained, Alexander takes the opportunity to introduce them to Jennifer, outlining her position as his assistant and their new link to his professional realm. The triplets respond with differing levels of curiosity. Emma jumps in with practical inquiries about Alexander's company. Lily watches silently, and Olivia gives a timid smile. Jennifer, acknowledging her limited experience with children, approaches the introduction with unexpected kindness, pulling 3 identical plush bears from her bag to provide companionship while your dad is occupied. The day unfolds gently, the apartment transforming into a sanctuary of sorrow and adaptation. Alexander manages calls from the funeral home and a few of Catherine's relatives, coordinating a modest service for the next day. The girls dedicate countless hours to their drawings. Reminders of Catherine Alexander linger, as they craft scenes of picnics, birthday celebrations, and bedtime stories with their colored pencils. They are navigating their grief in a personal manner, forming a visual tribute to the woman who nurtured them. As they reveal their completed artwork, Alexander proposes the idea of making a memory book for the funeral, a way to convey the significance Catherine held in their lives. This endeavor keeps them engaged throughout the afternoon, providing a sense of direction amid their sorrow. Later that evening, as Alexander settles them into bed, a routine he's gradually becoming accustomed to, Emma poses a question that surprises him. Will you abandon us as well? The bluntness of the question, coupled with the hidden anxiety, causes Alexander's heart to tighten. He perches on the edge of the bed, ensuring he locks eyes with each girl one by one. No, he replies with conviction. I'm here to stay. We've become a family. Lily, ever the realist, highlights the weakness in his comforting words. Mom had no intention of departing. Aunt Catherine felt the same. At times, circumstances are beyond our control. The stark reality of this observation, the recognition of mortality rare in such young children, renders Alexander momentarily at a loss for words. You're right, he concedes at last. Sometimes illness strikes or unforeseen events occur. I can't guarantee that nothing will ever happen to me, but I assure you that I will do everything I can to be here for you, to protect you, and to ensure you always have a place to call home and people who care for you. He pauses, then continues, mentioning that he has already consulted with his lawyer about making arrangements, just in case, so you would never have to face anything alone. That's the essence of being a parent. They prepare for every eventuality, even those they wish to avoid. This realistic mindset appears to resonate with Emma and Lily, who respond with solemn nods. In contrast, Olivia reaches out for his hand. Can you stay until we fall asleep? She asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Alexander shifts to the edge of the bed, making himself more comfortable. Of course I can, he reassures her, ready to remain as long as it takes. Once the girls have drifted off to sleep, Alexander settles at his desk, poring over the contents of Sarah's safety deposit box. Among the papers lies a flash drive marked only with the words, "For the girls." Intrigued, he connects it to his laptop, discovering it brimming with photographs and video clips. Sarah captured the essence of her pregnancy, the triplets as newborns, their first steps, birthday celebrations, and the simple joys of childhood. A digital archive of the moments he couldn't be there for, lovingly preserved for their daughters. The last video, dated just weeks before Sarah's passing, reveals her frail yet radiant smile as she speaks to the camera. My beloved girls, she starts, I'm creating this for you to view when you're older. I want you to understand the depth of my love for you and the pride I feel in you. Alexander halts the video, sensing he is an unwelcome observer in this tender exchange between mother and daughters. This isn't intended for him, not at this moment. When the girls are prepared, when they seek their mother's voice and wish to see her face, he will reveal it to them. For now, he meticulously transfers the files to his secure cloud storage, making certain they remain safe. Another fragment of Sarah safeguarded for their future. Another link binding their past to whatever lies ahead. He shuts the laptop and gazes toward the guest room where his daughters rest, astonished by the profound change in his life over the course of just 3 days. The man who stood alone at Sarah's grave, engulfed in solitary sorrow, seems like a distant figure now, a former self gradually slipping into the recesses of memory. The weight of mourning settles in as funeral preparations begin. Alexander assists the girls in picking out suitable dresses from their new wardrobe, taken aback when they choose to wear different colors instead of their typical coordinated outfits. Aunt Catherine always said we should be ourselves. Emma shares, selecting a navy blue dress, while Lily goes for gray and Olivia chooses dark purple. The statement strikes a chord with Alexander, who resolves to nurture their uniqueness while cherishing the special connection they have as triplets. They present their memory book of drawings, meticulously organized in a binder adorned with Catherine's name, inscribed in 3 different handwriting styles on the cover. The funeral is intimate yet poignant, taking place in the chapel of Catherine's church. Her colleagues from the local community college, where she taught English literature, speak of her unwavering commitment to her students and her passion for poetry. Her few relatives reminisce about family gatherings. When it's time for the girls to share, they step up to the podium in unison, with Emma clutching their cherished memory book. Aunt Catherine stepped in for us when our mom was unable to. She starts off. Each night, she would read us stories and show us the art of making banana bread. Lily chimes in. She was familiar with all the names of the stars and could locate the Big Dipper even on cloudy nights. Olivia finishes gently, her hugs the warmest, always reminding that love is what truly binds a family, beyond mere blood ties. From the front pew, Alexander observes, his throat constricted with feeling. The trio of young girls, united in the face of sorrow, display a bravery that leaves him in awe. As they settle back into their seats, he wraps his arms around them, keeping them near as the service comes to an end. The reception that follows is short, with Catherine's colleagues offering their condolences and a handful of distant cousins engaging in uncomfortable small talk. The girls remain close to Alexander, finding comfort in his presence, just as he finds solace in theirs. They are navigating the complexities of family amidst the depths of grief, building bonds through their collective sorrow. Later that afternoon, as they make their way back to the apartment, Alexander's phone buzzes with a call from James Winters. The DNA results have come in, affirming what Alexander has long sensed in his heart. He is certainly the biological father of Emma, Lily, and Olivia Reed. The scientific validation seems almost redundant now, an unnecessary confirmation of a truth he has already embraced. Yet, it offers the legal groundwork they will require as they progress the formal recognition of their bond. As he reveals the news to the girls, their faces reflect confusion. "We already knew you were our dad," Emma states with the unwavering confidence of youth. "Mom told us." For them, the question had never been uncertain. As Alexander busies himself in the kitchen, his cooking abilities still in the early stages yet steadily getting better, he catches snippets of conversation from the living room. "Do you think we'll be happy in the new house?" Olivia's voice, tinged with a hint of worry, floats to him. "I think so," Lily replies with a hint of contemplation. "Dad appears kind, and he doesn't confuse us like the teachers at school." Emma's tone is resolute and unwavering as always. "Mom wanted us to be with him. She must have known he'd be a good dad." The straightforward trust in their judgment stirs an unexpected lump in Alexander's throat. Sarah had kept his daughters away from him, yet somehow made sure they knew him, believed in him. It's a paradox he's still grappling with, a complicated legacy of both loss and gift. The weekend marks the arrival of moving day, a whirlwind of hustle as skilled movers transport Alexander's vital possessions to Sarah's residence in Cambridge. The girls take charge with unexpected confidence, guiding the placement of items in various rooms and sharing their thoughts on furniture layouts. Meanwhile, a second group of movers shows up at Catherine's cozy home, carefully packing the girls' bedroom furniture, toys, books, and cherished keepsakes. Alexander observes the cherished stuffed animals and beloved storybooks being gently packed away, each object a fragment of a past he never experienced. A fleeting sense of jealousy stirs within him, only to be swiftly brushed aside as he acknowledges its unworthiness. Catherine provided his daughters with a nurturing home when they needed it most. He feels a deep sense of gratitude for that care, even as he reflects on the years that slipped away. By late afternoon, the Cambridge house undergoes a transformation, shedding its identity as Sarah's preserved memory and not yet fully becoming Alexander's bachelor haven, but rather evolving into something fresh and dynamic. The girls' bedrooms begin to take form, their unique personalities starting to shine through in the arrangements. Emma's room reflects a sense of order and functionality, with her books meticulously sorted by both subject and size. Lily transforms her space into a sanctuary for nature lovers, adorned with vibrant posters of wildlife and a terrarium awaiting its future residents. Olivia crafts a warm and inviting atmosphere, with twinkling fairy lights draped above her bed and her assortment of stuffed animals thoughtfully displayed on shelves. In Alexander's bedroom, the master suite he once shared with Sarah, the atmosphere feels lighter now, with his clothes neatly arranged in the closet next to the vacant space where Sarah's belongings used to be. They enjoy dinner picnic style on the living room floor once more, with pizza boxes and paper plates ensuring an easy cleanup after a long day. The weariness from moving, coupled with the emotional toll of Catherine's funeral, has rendered the girls quieter than usual, though they are not without contentment. As night descends, they navigate the house with flashlights, engaging in a game of their own creation that Alexander observes with a fond smile. This is what family means. A year later, Alexander finds himself in the backyard of their Cambridge home, throwing a birthday celebration for the triplets. The yard bursts with vibrant balloons and streamers, a cheerful 9th birthday banner draped from the oak tree. Classmates dart about, engaging in games while parents converse, many still in awe of Alexander's evolution from a reserved CEO to a dedicated single father. Emma orchestrates relay races with meticulous precision, her leadership qualities already shining through. Lily gathers fascinating bugs to share with her science-loving friends, while Olivia performs on the violin for a small crowd, her confidence blossoming each day. Alexander observes them with pride, astonished by the profound impact they've had on his life in merely a year. His phone vibrates with a business alert, but he mutes it without glancing at the screen. Reed Innovations flourishes even with his limited hours. The renewable energy initiative he established in Sarah's honor has emerged as the company's standout division. Initially, the board pushed back against his family-oriented timetable, but the enhanced company culture and unprecedented profits have quieted any dissent. As the celebration comes to a close, Alexander gathers the girls for a heartfelt moment. He reveals matching lockets, each holding a small photo of Sarah. "So Mom can always be with you," he says, assisting them in fastening the delicate chains. The girls regard their treasures with a sense of awe, fully grasping the importance of this bond to their mother. Later that evening, after the guests have departed and the house settles into silence, Alexander joins the girls on Sarah's weathered porch swing. "Do you think Mom would be happy?" he asks. Olivia inquires, cozily tucked against his side. Alexander gazes at his daughters, these unexpected blessings, and nods with conviction. "She would be very happy." He reassures them, fully aware of its truth. Later, in solitude within his study, Alexander opens his desk drawer and retrieves the note that altered the course of his life. "If you're reading this, Alexander, then these girls have located you. Emma, Lily, and Olivia are their names. They belong to your daughters." The paper is now worn, creased from constant handling, a testament to the moment his life truly began. He casts a quick look at the family portrait on his desk, where he stands amidst 3 beaming girls, their eyes mirroring Sarah's and his own resolve shining through. The path from a sorrowful widower to a self-assured father was fraught with challenges. Yet these 3 extraordinary children mended his shattered heart in ways he had never imagined. Alexander shuts his eyes, sensing Sarah's presence as a gift rather than a void at this moment. "Thank you," he whispers, a sense of appreciation washing over him, replacing the anger and confusion of those early days. Through loss and pain, he discovered his true calling, not in boardrooms or business deals, but in school plays and bedtime stories, in guiding 3 young girls to confront the world with courage and compassion. Outside, the stars emerge one by one over their home. Alexander Reed, a prosperous CEO and devoted father of triplets, has discovered the true essence of wealth, the love of family and the invaluable opportunity for second chances.